can he pull these charges since they were, I think they were recorded on the internet?
Yeah, that's one of the fictions, I'm going to call it, that comes from watching TV a lot. Whenever we see it, is they always say, "Oh, do you want to press charges?" What really happens in real life is they may ask you, "Do you want to press charges?" And what they mean by that is if you're not too offended and the cops don't think it's that serious, they may let the whole thing go. It saves them paperwork. It saves you being prosecuted, and it makes everybody happy if we're all willing to go our separate ways and not do whatever we did wrong again. But it doesn't actually happen if the prosecutor or the police officer just decides that they didn't like what you did. So by that I mean, if you walk up to an old lady on the street and say you punch her in the face, if she says, "No, I won't press charges," the cop's probably still going to arrest you because he's saying, I don't care. That really offended me. And that's because the legal standard isn't, does the person press charges? It has nothing to do with the victim. The way the law is written is that it says you committed a crime against the government. You committed a crime against the state. If you're in England, they say that you committed a crime against the crown, because in reality is that the law was created to protect order for the state, for the government, for the crown, whoever it is. It wasn't made to protect the victim, believe it or not, which sounds horrible, but that's how the Supreme Court has even put it before. And so it's not really up to him to pull these charges back.
Wow.
The only person who really has that power is going to be the prosecutor. It's going to be the DA's office.
Wow.
The police officers have a little bit of influence, but even after they make the arrest, it's out of their hands too.
Wow. Wow. Quick question. What if someone that got their green card through the asylum program, sends threat to a U.S. citizen or a U.S. resident or anyone, I guess, that can press charges? How can it negatively impact that person?
Yeah, so first, obviously, like you said already, but it doesn't matter if
even
they're
if the person has a green card. In this case, like another social media influencer, her name is Pretty Don. How will this impact her if she should send threat to someone, even if she gets the privilege to a green card or so forth through the asylum program?
Right. So obviously, just so everyone's clear, it doesn't matter who the victim is. It could be a citizen, green card holder. It could even be someone who's in the U.S. without any papers at all. What they care about is the crime, not the actual, victim who's been involved inside the crime. My apologies. Am I still connected? Because I'm having some technical issues on my side.
I can hear you. I think everyone can hear you. We're just not seeing you, but we can hear you clearly.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought that was just me. So I'll have to figure that out because I can't see you anymore either. But it's all right. As long as everyone's okay with my voice, then I'll keep going.
Yeah, man.
So what happens if it's actually been a crime that's been committed while, specifically if you're doing it through asylum. They have slightly different standards after you get a green card through asylum than you did if you just simply had a green card. We don't have to go through all of it right now, but just the basic idea that people have to worry about is if it's a threat, if it's considered a terroristic threat, which each state defines differently, so don't get caught up on the wording, but if it's a serious threat that's been made against somebody, then it can be brought against you with charges. If it is brought to you with charges, then they are allowed to try and bring you to court to take away your green card. There are a number of ways that you can protect yourself and save yourself if that does happen, but you never want to put yourself in that situation. The reason why it makes it hard to interpret is because there are 50 states in America. There's also Puerto Rico, there's Guam, etc. And each one of these places have their own laws on committing threats over the internet. And each one of these laws have different levels of how strict they are. And immigration has to translate all of them differently. And so obviously immigration doesn't have the time to go through thousands and thousands of laws for each state. So they do it on a case-by-case basis. So we've had over maybe 40, 50 years of these laws being on the books, and we can't say for certain what is a serious enough crime to have you kicked out, depending on what you've been arrested for. Some of them obviously we know for certain, but others we don't actually know. So when you're throwing out threats, there's some gray area there. All crimes involving threats are strong enough if they want to try and throw you into court. But in some states, they may even be stricter than that and could lead you to a more serious offense on the immigration portion of everything.